Welcome to Making Awesome, Chapter 24. We're going to talk about the cost of inventing because there's a lot out there that is a little nebulous, and we're here to hopefully guide you through those pitfalls that the home gamers get so we can take you to the promised land of making awesome. Before we get into it, though, we got Tad and Thomas with us. As always, these episodes are supported by 3D Musketeers. If you want to make awesome, you can reach out to us at 3dmusketeers.com. Links will be in the description somewhere. But let's get into it, guys. You know, this is a fun topic because as we're shifting our focus to be more education based, that's what the entire Making Awesome brand is about. Spoiler alert for people that didn't realize that. The entire brand of Making Awesome is regarding the education side of things, and 3D Musketeers is the service side of things. Well, we're getting a lot of new inventors coming in to work with us, and the biggest question that we get is, what does this whole damn thing cost? And that's a tough one because it depends on what you're wanting to do, right? Mm-hmm. If you're just looking to get CAD and move on, maybe a 3D printer too, and that's it, dude, you can get done for like $1,500. But if you want to get the Thomas treatment, okay, where you'll have 3 episodes where Thomas is just yelling at you for how your branding sucks, that's going to cost a little bit more. And it comes down to where those costs come in. And let's kind of talk about it. So we're implementing a new thing where we're going to, your first meeting, totally free, which we always did, but previously we didn't have a time limit on it. And I went back and looked at last year to see
how much time you spent.
Take a guess as to how much time we spent last year in just introductory meetings alone.
Per each or
no,
overall?
Total, overall.
Days, multiple days.
In hours.
Let's go. I'm going to go with,
100?
Last year entirely?
Last year. Jan 1 to December 31.
Cool.
300 hours?
200, 300, 557 hours.
Yeah, okay. Cap that after a certain point then.
We're going to cap it at 15 minutes. So
okay.
We're going to actually, in the description of this video, there will be a link where you can get time on our calendar. You don't even have to ask us. It will automatically book all the time for you. 15 minutes. We can talk about anything. And if it runs over, it runs over. But the goal is that you got to get everything done in 15 minutes. If you're going to tell me about your life story, then you should just come on the podcast. If you want to make awesome, you got 15 minutes to describe to me how you want to do it. And 15 minutes of back and forth. So we figure 7 minutes for them, 7 minutes for us, 1 minute follow-up, done and done. And we can move into starting to get some stuff paid because money.
Yeah, but also for just getting the gist of an idea, that should be enough.
We shouldn't need to do 2-hour-long introductory discovery meetings because, Tad, how many meetings have we sat through where we're like, this could have been an email, and it probably should have been an email, and I'm like, this is time that I have to pay for that I'm not getting
so
money
many
from. So we're
not that we dislike it. It's fun talking to people, but
it is.
There's a trade-off there.
But we need to do that when we're on the clock. Right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we give out so much information, and a lot of it we've recorded in this podcast. So if you're curious, go back and listen to some episodes, give us a like, share, comment, subscribe, all the things you should be doing. Go.
Right.
Go do that. Anyways, because this process doesn't have to be expensive, but when you get into it where the client is just basically asking us to do all the work for them, including hey, just here's my idea, you do all the work. No, we will do what you tell us. That does not include us building an entire, if we were going to build an entire idea like that, we're going to patent it.
Yeah.
Which
you got to come up with your own stuff, and you're the boss. You tell us where to go.
We will help guide you to the promised land of success, right? That is our job.
Right.
Our job is to not do it for you. And look, we will have a tier for that. And if you can pay us that kind of money, we'll do it for you. That tier will start at $50,000 for us to build it out. Yeah,
reasonable.
And I heard Snickers in here.
For a non-trivial amount of money. The whole time I was thinking, I'm like, I mean, for enough money, we could probably figure it out.
Oh yeah, for enough money, we'll do anything. But yes, the idea of you bring us an idea and then we do everything, but you own the rights to it, will start at $50,000, and there will be a royalty involved.
That's fair.
But as far as keeping it affordable for you,
yes,
that's
it
not
doesn't
what
have
you're
to
going to
be.
do.
You're going to have to pick up some of the legwork. Yeah.
We've had product developments that have been out in and out of the shop for less than $1,000, which is awesome. And that does not include a patent. So let's kind of break down where the money goes, right?
Mm-hmm. And we've touched on a lot of these before. We touched on like the prototyping. Mm-hmm. We've had a patent episode, but let's kind of take a look at that's true. Let's take kind of look at the whole timeline of where your money goes in that whole process.
Yeah, and let's start with the timeline. How long should something like this take?
It depends on what it is. We've had products like you said, we've had products that come in and out of the shop pretty quickly. Takes not that much money.
And they're out in 3 weeks or less generally.
I'd say that's pretty typical.
Yeah,
but some things are more complicated. Like if it's a complex, if it's some kind of device that has, a plastic shell, electronics, it can take a lot longer.
Yeah.
It could take, I'd say on the long end, probably 6 months, depending on how the complexity.
Exactly where I was thinking.
Yeah.
So we're on the same wavelength, man.
We've been through it, so we know.
It's true. Yeah, we trudged through that mud. And what we say is, if you're saying that you need it faster than 6 months, and then you better show us the money. Because realistically, can you get it done faster than 6 months? Sure. Yeah, but you're going to trade time for money, right? Remember, it's the good, fast, and cheap, right? The good, fast, and cheap pick two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For clarity, though, 6 months is for the full package. That's for everything. That's for product development.
Yep.
Basically getting it production ready.
DFM, design for manufacturing.
Exactly. That's from conception to prototyping, or to CAD to prototyping to even branding.
Yeah. And branding will probably start at the 5 or 6 month mark, because at the branding point, you'll be working a lot with myself and Thomas. Tad is probably out of the picture by then, and I'm going to push you away because you're over there for me.
I'm needed for other things.
Yes, you are needed in other places for other
people need me
doing other things. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But this process does take time, and if you're coming in saying I need something in a week, no.
Good luck.
I'm going to straight say no.
Yeah.
Because we've dealt with this. Even recently, we dealt with this where clients are coming to us and saying, hey, we need you to design this entire product in 2 weeks. And we're like, it's not possible.
No.
Well, you say that it's only 10 hours, but you're working at least 8 hours a day, right? I'm like, no. Because that's 10 hours
it's
of
chopped
time.
Up on all kinds of different things. Mm-hmm. It's not all at once.
Exactly. And
I wish it was all at once.
Me too. But even if it was all at once, I think it would still take more than what we bill for, right? Because there's a lot of meetings where, the team sits down, we say, all right, this is the project, this is how much time we have on it, let's talk about it, let's see how we can get into this realm of success.
And there's research involved and stuff that we don't bill for.
Yeah.
So.
Like I spent 6 hours researching for a client. We're not billing for that. We probably should. But we don't currently, because if we can put a little bit of time in there, we gain the trust of an individual, and we get this mutually beneficial relationship to where they understand we're going to go above and beyond, because that's just who we are and what we do. And
our aim is not to nickel and dime. It's to do quality work.
Right. And look, if there is the asshole tax, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to be a jerk to us and you're going to put us under hard deadlines, you're going to pay more than the person that says, yep, just, if we say, hey, it's going to take a month and we get it done in 3 weeks, you're excited. And if we say it takes a month, then it takes 5 weeks, and, That's kind of expected. But if we say
it's just where it lands,
and if we say it takes a month and you're bothering us in a week, things are going to start to get more expensive because you are taxing time. And we're not here just to, poo-poo on bad clients, because everyone's dealt with it. I'm sure you know somebody out there that is the Karen of your industry. And we have our Karens in this industry too.
People just need to realize that they're not our only clients. We have multiple, so it kind of all has to be spread around.
And there's no nice way to say that, because it is kind of a dick thing to say, but it does need to be said. Because look, if you want to be our only client, by all means, we are happy to make that happen. But
we need a commensurate amount of
the collective salaries on this call, or what we should make, the collective real salaries on this call is north of $250,000. So of just the 3 people that are here, and realistically, the 3 people that are here can get anything from design to finished product perfect. I'll help on the business side. Tad does all the CAD work. Thomas does all the. I know. I have to get used. I have to mirror myself.
Semaphore.
Because this is my left, and left needs to be left on the screen too. Anyways, but yes, we want to do it in a way that is cost effective for everybody, because if we're going to sit there and say, well, it's $200,000 to get a product to market, we will have literally no business. And the people that we do have are going to be the ones that bother us every 10 hours about where their stuff is.
That's like the corporation of like a big, the budget of a big corporation.
Right. And so
that's more in line with that. We don't cater to that.
No.
Yet.
No. Yeah. One day, maybe. One day soon.
Maybe one day, but not now.
Right. And we look at all the opportunities when you're starting. And really the big thing, and this is a weird one to say, don't worry about the money. Just get started. And that doesn't mean call us. Start writing your idea down. Just do not worry about what it's going to cost. Get it on paper, get it written down, make it real. Set a deadline for yourself of, all right, I'm going to do research. I've got 1 week to do my research. And once I have enough research, I'm going to set a 15-minute meeting with 3D Musketeers. We're going to talk about this idea, and we're going to decide if we're going to move forward. Because on that call, if you request it, you must request it. We will not give out rough quotes without you requesting it. We will give you a rough estimate of what we believe the entire project will cost with each individual component. So we believe, all right, the research phase is $500. We believe the CAD stage is $1,000. We believe the electronic stage is $2,500, and we believe branding is $2,000. So your entire, I don't know, that was incalculable. Somewhere around $6,000, $7,000. And if you're getting a fully fledged idea with a branding package, with a marketing schedule and everything that you need to make this real for $7,000,
that's pretty good.
That ain't bad, man. You're going to be hard pressed to find that anywhere
compared
else.
to like the production phase.
Whoa, hey, the C word. We don't use the C word here. All right, it's affordable.
Good value.
It is value, great value, even.
But yeah, compared to and we've touched on this in other episodes too. Compared to when you take it to production, people are like, "Oh, how much could it possibly cost to get a plastic?"
We literally had this call. We had a call from a local 3D printing guy. He only operates on Facebook, so I've never heard of him before. Really, really cool guy. We talked for like an hour. Go figure. He's a history teacher, and hey Ryan, if you're watching, we're talking about you. But he called us saying, I've got a customer that wants to do a run of 30,000 components. What would it cost to 3D print it? And I said 0, because at 30,000 components, you're not 3D printing it. Well, they really want to do this and that. I said, well, what are you charging? And he described to me how he's charging it. I said, dude, you are like a quarter of what you should be charging. He's like, I thought I was spending a lot of time. And he's running generic printers. I'm going to say generic because I forget a lot of the names, but they're like Creality adjacent machines. He's like, I put a bunch of upgrades into these machines to make them run really well. Like, okay. When you get out of that Joe Prusa game, like to the point of we love Prusa so much, right there, that little silver thing you see, that's his signature. We had him sign one of our printers. We waited an extra 3. Oh, yours was signed?
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to wait. It's like an extra 2 weeks to get it signed, but it's worth
you
it.
just write it in the comment. You're like, I would like him to sign it, and he will. It just takes a little longer.
Oh, okay.
There's supposed
I finally
to be
buy mine then.
There's supposed to be at least one mini that is signed. I don't actually know if it is because we haven't unboxed them yet. We've had them for almost a month, and I haven't taken them out of the box because of how busy it's been here.
Do we know anyone else like by name that works at Prusa? Because I think it would be even funnier to like pick someone random from Prusa to sign the printer. Like, do you think if I got my printer, I could get like a marketing person to like sign my printer?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Oh, see, I was gonna say that would be great. I think that's hilarious.
The one big guy that we know from Prusa is Matt, but Matt lives in the States. He's their community manager over at Prusa. Matt happens to run a really awesome Discord if you are part of that thing. We have our weekly maker hangout. Happens every Friday from 9 to midnight Eastern Standard Time. But one day we're gonna have to start doing one for 3DM too. But yeah, this whole process. Oh, I never finished that thought with Ryan.
I was about to say, what were you going to say?
I guess the client is looking to place an order for 500, but wants a quote for 30,000, and he's like, oh no, this gets even worse. He's like, well, I've been looking at one of the local machinery auctions to get a used injection molder. I said, you do not want somebody else's problem. Injection molders are not retired unless they are very broken. You'll have injection molders running for 30 years.
Yeah, but after that, there's nothing left to give.
Yeah, I said, you don't want somebody else's problem. He said, well, I can get him for like $2,000. I said, yeah, because that's all it's worth in scrap metal. I said, if you're going to get an injection molder, and I said, if you want to do it, go ahead. I'm not going to stop you. But you better make sure that what you pay for it is less than or equal to its scrap value, because that is all that it is going to be worth. Mm-hmm. Well, they don't want to pay the mold cost. I said, well, they don't want to pay retail 3D printing either because, their parts should cost around $70 to $80 for the 6 pieces they need done. And I'm like, their mold's probably going to be around the $50,000 mark if they choose to keep it in the States, maybe $60,000. And their, total production injection molded cost might be $2. So you amortize out the cost of that mold pretty quickly. And the ROI was something like $2,000 or $3,000. And I'm like, yeah, they don't need to be doing this. And he's like, well, they're going to start a Kickstarter. I'm like, oh, I'm out. I'm so out. I don't even want, I said, I don't even want a hand in this because we've dealt with this where, oh, can you give me quoting on a quantity of 30,000, please? And we'll do it, right? We'll quote you $30,000.
Yeah.
But
it's just,
you'll never hit that.
No.
In the time that we've worked with people where they've said, hey, can you quote me like 5,000? One client has ever hit that mark.
Yeah.
But he also did his initial production run was of 1,000 pieces. Mind you, his initial production run we charged him way too little. It was sub $1 for the pieces. You could fit 100 of them on a Prusa with tons of room extra. That's how tiny these parts were. And they were like perfect. It was the Stogie. It was perfect for doing FDM as well. It was really, really, really simple. But that was the one time. And he sold them all. But he's gone over to injection molded because his mold was like $3,000.
Well, yeah. Whenever you're at scale with plastic, injection molding is better. It's just people balk at the cost.
They do. And don't be afraid of that injection molding cost because you're not there yet. You've barely even started, right? And let's back up, right? So where do some of these costs have? So we have our initial 15-minute discovery call, totally free. We're not going to charge you a dime for that. You'll get our contact information in that call. If you're still looking for it and you found this episode, it's in the description. Look for it there. And while you're there, leave us a like, comment, share, subscribe, review us on iTunes because I guess that's a big deal. Sorry, we're Android and with a cat. But Yeah, we have some initial costs here. Oh God, I hit my mic. We have some initial costs here, and that happens before CAD even gets going, and that is the further understanding of your product. That can take, right, I would say, a maximum of 2 hours. I don't see that, like, when we've done these calls, it's been like a maximum of 2 hours, and that's it. And at that point, we know what you're doing, and that's $100 an hour as of recording of this video. Our prices might be going up. If you use the code, see, I'm going to do this right now, and we're not going to put it in writing. If you use the code Making Awesome Podcast, we'll make sure to hook you up on that charge if the price ever goes up. If the price stays at 100, you're paying 100. But let's say it goes to 150, we'll hook you up, because that means you actually listened and got 21 minutes into a podcast to find a coupon code. So, but there's a little bit there, and that will be a meeting with myself, maybe Tad, maybe Thomas, maybe one of the other engineers, just so that we can get a better idea of who you are, your project, and see where do you actually need help, and maybe you have a chicken farm. I don't know. Love Bailey.
What?
She sounds like a chicken. It's fine.
She does sound like a rooster. Like, oh.
I know, it's fine. I just love it. Because this is not like, we're not scripted. We're just kind of going at this, and we have weird interruptions. Thomas's internet randomly chops up, and he'll move from one side of the screen to the other.
Yours did too for a minute.
Did it?
Yes, it did.
Well, it didn't for me, and I'm the one recording it all. Let me make sure my computer's not going too crazy. Oh,
so after we've sort of had that initial meeting and had some time to research things, and certain projects take longer than others to research based on complexity. At that point, we're able to give a quote, right?
Yes. Yeah. So once we have our initial kind of, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what we need, this is what we want you guys to do meeting, then we're going to hit you with a design quote. So we can hit you with an overall quote for the entire project. It will be generally a lot higher than your project actually comes out to, because we have a pretty large factor for how we do our design. So, or how we do our quoting. We have time, materials, resources, as well as there's a subjective clause that's all about propensity of failure. Mm-hmm. And we also have,
because we assume some risk in doing these things.
Correct.
It's a time sink.
And then we also have urgency. Urgency is a multiplier. So if you have a high urgency, your cost is multiplied. And so all of those go into factoring what this costs. So if you do things on a piecemeal basis, so all right, let's say it's 5 hours of design, that's $500 total. Once we go through with the CAD drawing, now, okay, we need electronics. All right, let's bill for the electronics, because you should always do your product design. Electronics are always last in the physical design process. Unless it's just an electronic product. But like your housings and everything, that is all things that are done before your electronics are done. Do not try to put electronics first, because you will need to change them over and over again to fit the housing of everything that you want. Now, with that being said, if you do have some very key components like a passive infrared sensor or a particular motor that you're going to be using in your product, make sure we know that from the beginning, right? So that we can make sure that it is, it can be held. We also then need to see, all right, is there any other products that we need to reverse engineer to figure out how yours is going to work? Because remember, an invention does not need to be a 100% brand new idea. It needs to be novel, unique, and non-obvious. That is it, according to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. And because of that, you can work on, let's say you want, instead of reinventing the wheel, you want to put new rims on it. That's fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing
see a
wrong
lot
with
of that.
We see a lot of that. And we actually recommend that, because from a product development standpoint, you will spend less money if you are working with something that already exists, right? If you're working with a product that fits into another product, or a product that utilizes a design of another product, that's one less thing that we have to do. Okay?
Yeah. Well, and if you're trying to make a better mousetrap, you'll probably have more success with that than if you were trying to make the first mousetrap.
Yeah, first mousetraps were pretty archaic.
Yeah.
Even the current ones are pretty archaic, but they're effective.
Yes.
The mousetrap is an Occam's razor 100%. Which Occam's razor, that's the simplest idea is normally the best, right? Yeah.
The simplest solution is usually the true one.
Okay. And that holds real for this scenario as well, right? Feature creep is a big problem. And that's why with the design, we will give you very clear parameters. With every step of this process, you will get very clear parameters on what the deliverables will be. The money is paid up front. Before any work is started, the money is paid up front. If you want some sort of terms, that's fine, but there will be, that adds to your risk factor, right? Mm-hmm. If you're let's say your risk factor is a 0, we know this is going to be an easy project, but you want to do a 50-50. Well, your risk factor just went up by 10%, so your project cost just went up by 10%. Because if we do all this work and you don't pay us that last 50%, we're floating that extra charge. So we have to make sure that look, it's a business at the end of the day, and we would love to give away all this work for free. We've given away a lot for free in this podcast. Maybe you should, listen to some other episodes. I'm going to keep laying on these shameless self-plugs for this podcast. Yeah. But we should, because if you've watched all of our product development episodes, all the episodes about what is 3D printing and all of that, you should have a pretty good idea of what's going on. I think, right?
I would hope so.
Yeah. So we've got this design, and all right, your CAD is done.
Yeah.
Then we're going to move you into electronics if they're needed. Mm-hmm. During all of this time, you should be working on your provisional patent. You do not need an attorney for this. You do not. We've had 2 attorneys tell you don't need an attorney for a provisional. You also do not need a real patent at this time. What you need are sales. You need sales. Look at me. Like, I'm talking to you. You.
I am the captain now.
I am the product developer now. You don't need a patent yet. Stop it.
You need to be able to justify it with actual data.
If you when we said that it's going to, roughly $7,000 for the whole thing, and you were afraid of that number, you don't need a patent, because that's what a patent's going to cost you.
Exactly. On top of everything else.
On top of everything else, right. What you need are sales. And you can keep a product and patent pending for years. Or you can do what Coca-Cola does and keep it in trade secret. Because if Coca-Cola patented their recipe, homie,
everyone would know
everybody and their mother would be copying it and changing one little ingredient to make it novel, unique.
I think that's a misconception people have, that so a patent protects you by assigning ownership of an idea to you.
Yep.
But it also has to, in doing so, it tells everyone else what that idea is in relatively high detail. So,
and look, the paranoia, and if you are an inventor, I'm talking to you right now. The paranoia that everyone is going to steal your idea is not real. Stop it.
No.
Now,
nobody has time for that.
We don't even have the time for that.
No.
And
especially us.
That's true. We are not in the business to steal your idea. I will even link our non-disclosure in the description if I remember. If I don't remember, someone comment and remind me, and I'll put it in the description. I will put a link to our non-disclosure. Actually, I'm not going to do that. You can email me to get it, because I don't want to post our non-disclosure publicly. I spent a lot of money on that, okay? I don't want somebody else to copy it. You can email us, podcast@3dmusketeers.com, and just put the title NDA, and I'll set up something that instantly emails you. But you don't need a real patent yet.
No, you're not ready for it.
We are not going to steal your idea. We want you to succeed, because ultimately, if you succeed, you're going to pay us, and that's great. We like getting paid. You know what we really like? We like making sure that we can cut 6-figure checks to the government.
Mm-hmm.
That's never happened. But that would be a good day when I can cut a 6-figure check to the government. Yes, he just talked about wanting to pay taxes. Because if we're cutting a 6-figure check to the government, it means we've made a lot of... Anyways, I'll leave that be. But get your provisional filed, because you will have all of your drawings that you need for that. You can file a provisional without those drawings. And at least in the state of Florida, where 3D Musketeers is located, it is a first-to-file state. That means if you get your provisional in and 2 days later John Smith gets his in, yours will supersede his. But that does not mean you automatically win the game. It means if there is ever a court battle and you can prove it, you must be able to defend yourself to a means that is by a judge without question. That you are the original owner of this, you were the first one to do it, and sometimes, even if you were, that doesn't mean you're actually going to win.
No.
And sometimes, even if you do win, you don't win. I want you guys to look up Josh Malone's story, and he's the bunches of balloons guy.
Pyrrhic victory in a nutshell.
Tad, can you look up the title of his movie? Josh Malone is the name. Malone. Or can someone look it up? Because I don't want to mess with the recording.
Yeah.
He spent millions of dollars fighting an infringement claim. That was wrong. Well, okay, he was correct. The company infringed on him and
invalidated.
It's called Invalidated is the movie.
Yep.
And he spent millions of dollars fighting, and he ultimately won. Normally, the USPTO would say, "Hey, you're out. Get out of here. You can't make this anymore." The USPTO said it would cause disparaging amounts of. It would hurt.
It'd be too big of a
hurt the copying company too much, so they allowed them to continue, but just pay Josh a royalty. So now Josh has a real competitor that he's only making like 10% or whatever it was off of. That's not good. He lost that money. That money's gone.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the money to defend your patent is worthless. It is not worth the paper that it is printed on. So think about that. And a provisional, USPTO doesn't even look at it. They don't even give a damn about provisionals. And if you think that you can just, register or certified mail yourself your idea and never open it, that's called a poor man's patent. It doesn't work that way. Stop it. We've had like 3 people this week talk about poor man patents. I'm like, that's not real.
They need to watch the episodes that we have on that.
Yeah. We brought in an attorney to talk about this. It's not real. It used to be. It used to be. And there's some case law. It's case law, so it's not like state law, but it's case law that shows these don't hold up.
But bruh, guess what? It's not the 1930s anymore.
Right.
So.
Right. So, log everything that you're doing. Make sure that, and you can file as many provisionals as you want. You can file updates to your provisional. Provisionals are only good for 1 year. 1 calendar year from the day that they're filed, they will expire. And the idea of a provisional is to protect you while you are filing your real patent. We believe that you can file a patent in a lot less than 1 year. And you should get your provisional in as soon as you're kind of ready to go with your exterior design and you know how you want your interior design to work. Because you don't need that to be very specific. You need your exterior design to be very specific. The goal of a patent is not to be laser focused specific. You want to be actually quite vague.
Yeah,
but
some things you want to be protecting, especially if it's like a method.
Right.
You don't want to give away the specifics.
Do I want to patent, and because it's something in my life right now, do I want to patent a new style of, and this is the original one that my cane, I have a walking cane now. But do I want to patent a new style of grip for canes? Or do I want to patent a grip designed for stabilizing humans during movement?
That gives you a lot more room to play around with.
Because then it could go on to walkers, it could go on to canes, it could go on to bicycles, it could go on to rollerblades, it could go skateboards. Not that this matters for any of those, but if someone comes out with a product that is a stabilization product designed for a skateboard, wait a minute, I've got that patent. But if I can't defend it, the patent doesn't matter. And this will happen often where people will test you and they will deliberately file something that is in complete infringing of your patent. If you don't notice it, because you should always be looking, right? That's part of the defense process, that you need to make sure you're constantly looking. If you don't notice it, there is a certain period of time where your patent can be invalidated because you did not make a good faith effort to protect it. Therefore, there is no reason for it to be protected.
Mm-hmm.
And don't let any of this scare you, right? What you need are sales. You do not need a patent. Let me repeat that for those in the back. What you need are sales. You do not need a patent yet.
Right.
Yet.
But to get sales, we go to our next section, we need branding.
Well, sometimes we need electronic work, but...
Well, yeah, yeah. You mentioned
since we have Thomas, let's do branding, because honestly, now is when you should be looking at branding. You should have an idea.
Start thinking of it before you're done.
Right, and we will remind you through this whole process of, hey, what's your name going to be? What's the name of the product going to be?
What's it going to look like? How's it going to be packaged?
Like? And then we bring in Thomas. Thomas is your ringer when it comes to making awesome. If you look at go back to like episode 1, The Phantom Menace. No? Nothing? No.
We said big doodle this time.
I mean,
I get it's early for you guys, but can I get a charity laugh or for something?
There's always a bigger fish.
I mean, I guess I just missed the like. It was a reference, but
Brent.
was it a joke?
Brent would have laughed.
I mean, it was literally just episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Like, what do you want me to do with that?
I'm like, yeah, that's...
Give me a smirk. Give me a laugh. Give me
I need a more specific thing. I
need to be validated.
All right.
Here you go, Grant. That was really nice.
Thanks, Dad.
No problem.
Hi, Dad. Hi, my real dad.
Hello, Doctor.
Dr. Posner. But, yeah, then you're going to go to Thomas. And Thomas is going to walk you through the valley of shadow and death that is branding. Because if you try to do this yourself, maybe, just maybe, you actually know what you're doing. But chances are not. Chances are not. I thought I knew what I was doing. And then we had Thomas as a guest. And then I realized how bad it was. And this idea of the blinders, there's a term for this.
Being too close to an idea.
Yeah, you're too emotionally involved to say, my name sucks. And we had some clients where their names suck.
And they were like married to it.
And they're married to it. And it's like, look, you can't brand a product called the Booty Bait Holder. You can't do it. That name is going to forever stick with me because it was terrible. And I'm like, his idea is pretty good. I actually like the idea. I think the name
I haven't thought about
terrible.
that in a long time.
Yeah, it's just like, I think that's a good point, is just like, don't be married to it. I think it always comes down to the fact that it's like...
It's funny because I was married to 3D Musketeers, but I think the name is actually pretty good. Thanks, Dad.
I think it comes down to like this thing of like... and this always comes up, and I think it comes up in everybody's career, so you just need to have a little, empathy for everyone else doing their jobs, because like, you're not coming to 3D Musketeers because you already know how to do product development or you already know how to do 3D printing. You're paying people because they know how to do something that you don't know
experts.
How to do.
Let them do their jobs.
And so when you come talk to a branding person, and I mean, oftentimes people will have good ideas, and then it's just up to us to make them better or improve them or make those ideas real. Yeah. But you got to trust the people that you're paying to do this job, because like a lot of the time, branding people have either been doing it for a really long time, or they have accredited degrees from universities that teach you how to do.
Yeah, I mean, how many
design.
years have you been doing branding and marketing and your degrees? Like, let's step back. Thomas, I want you to go through what your qualifications are to do what you do. Then Tad, I want you to go through yours, and I'll do mine last.
Sure. So, I mean, granted, over time, the weirdest thing is I've been doing this a lot longer than I ever have been doing it professionally, because I had a YouTube channel for a really long time when I was younger, for like about 9 years.
When we all wanted to be YouTubers. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I did all the, and I mean, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was looking back on a lot of it, but I did all the logos and all of the video editing and like just a ton of stuff for it, which really led me to...
You didn't know at the time that that's what marketing was, right?
No, I just knew that it's what people did, right? Like I knew it needed to look good, and I got a distinct satisfaction out of making those things and like having a unified brand and look for everything without even knowing that it was like a more of a thing. But man, like, yeah, so that went on for a long time. I mean, amateur stuff that I was doing for like 5 years, and then I did art in high school, and I did a little graphic design, But then I went to business marketing school for a year, and then I didn't do that anymore because I wanted to do design more, and I did that for 4 years, and I worked all 4 of those years in some kind of facet of design. So I don't know. I've been doing this professionally for 5 or 6 years, and I think
combined almost a decade now.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been working on this kind of stuff for a really, really long time.
And I'll let you guys know, for the kind of value he's providing, holy crap.
You can't really do better.
No, look, there are absolutely better branding people out there. I promise you will find better branding people, but you're also going to find better product development people too. But it's
for a lot more money.
Exactly. It's what are you going to pay for it? You're going to pay a lot of money. Like if you want like Damon John from Shark Tank or Lori Grenier from Shark Tank to do your branding and your product development, give them a blank check. That is really the only way.
There are like fantastic design houses out there that do branding and what I do and everything, but you have to be worth their time.
And when you look at this team, we're not just people that are doing it for the money, right? Tad and Thomas are related. Tad and I have been working together for 3+ years now. We are a dysfunctional, like Tad and Thomas are actually related. We are a dysfunctional family overall. And it reminds me that dysfunction in a family is normal. We will yell at each other. We will disagree on things. But at the end of the day, we'll tell each other to F off and we still love each other. Because we are all relying on this for some semblance of income. Yes, that is true. Yep. That's where we deviate from a real family.
The literal and figurative bottom line.
Yes, exactly. And, Thomas's experiences are amazing. I mean, dude, you worked...
I guess I was gonna just be like, if it helps, I've worked for like a number of corporations and small companies too, which end up a lot of the times being my favorite. I worked for a sportswear company in Boulder, Colorado. That was a great job. Super fun. They were great. And Grant and 3D Musketeers.
There it is. I'm like, out of all the examples he's going to use, he's going to choose the one that isn't us.
No, I was getting there. I was going in chronological order.
Ah, fine.
I feel there's a few more in between, but
I feel like ours has been a fair bit of fun for you because you're not just like doing a logo and some colors and saying good freaking luck.
Because
you're growing the baby. You are the father.
Well, yeah, that's usually how freelance goes, though. I mean,
a godfather.
Typically you don't stick around because people don't pay for it.
Yeah.
We do. Or they have or oftentimes the weirdest thing is people will actually have their own branding people, but they will not pay those people to do their own brand or redesign. They'll actually have outside houses come in and develop a brand guide.
because the inside people are too close to it, right?
It could be that. Or people don't have the bandwidth for it. Like when I was working at Lockheed, this is public. When I was working at Lockheed, they went through a brand redesign. I worked there for 2 summers. They went through a brand overhaul in the time that I was there. And we had, I forget who did I'll have to remember, but like a really big design firm did our redesign. And it was much needed. It was way better when it was done. But it was interesting because all the designers that were on board making stuff for Lockheed, which was us, we all got brand guides from different design studio that we had to implement into our brand, which was pretty interesting. But yeah, so that can happen a lot. It's kind of the same with freelance.
Yeah.
Brief aside, Thomas. What do you think of the Perseverance lander branding?
I like it.
Yeah,
it's a little. It's simple. It's
also,
cute.
we landed a freaking rover on Mars.
The size of an SUV.
Shit!
Yeah,
the sucker's big.
I think it gave me kind of like weird flashbacks to when Insight landed on Mars.
Well, because they use the same sky crane system, right?
Not a huge amount of time ago, Insight landed on Mars, and I worked on branding for Insight, which is pretty exciting. So, personally, I'm more attached to Insight's brand.
Literally, people that are listening, Thomas has worked on projects that are out of this world.
Yeah, on other planets. which is kind of cool. I mean, I don't actually know if anything that I made ever ended up
that's not
on hardware.
You don't need to know that. You worked on the project. So. That's what matters.
I did have my hands somewhere in the Insight project, which means I branded the mission support area, the MSA.
Dude,
which is just all of the signage and like title cards. You know, the title cards that you saw in the NASA broadcast that said like systems operations engineer and like, you know, team lead, you know, all those. I did those, but with like Insights branding, and then also some signage for like media stuff for when they let the media in and all that.
That just watching all of that live and seeing that first photo come back, man, just that nervousness. It was all live streamed, of course. We were watching it, and I was here
really
like,
nervous.
I'm at like 130 beats a minute. And I ain't doing a damn thing, and I can't imagine what it's like in that 7 minutes of hell when everything went dark and they're waiting because it takes a little over 11 minutes at the speed of light to get information from Mars to Earth. The rover had to land autonomously. They cannot control it. It must land autonomously.
And watching the speed gauge, I'm like, it started at reentry, it was like 2K per second. And then it was down to like 60 meters per second right before landing. I'm like, oh shit, that's a lot to decelerate.
I looked away for like 10 seconds to look at my phone, and it decelerated from like 5,000 meters per second down to 50. I'm like,
it was almost at the ground already. It's like,
that would kill somebody.
Yeah. Well, there's just not that much atmosphere to stop them.
Right.
It's not like re-entering Earth.
If you are curious to learn about how that entire process worked, we'll link Mark Rober's video in the description. I feel like it's like
a fabulous video.
It was a great video. Mark Rober does really, really good content.
He really does.
I would love to collaborate with him, but we are in no way, shape, or form on the same level. But hey, Marky Mark, if you're watching, hit a brother up, because that'd be pretty dope. I don't know what the hell we could do, but we'll do something. Hey, let's make the next Porch Pirate thing. Let's do that in 3D Musketeers. His Porch Pirate videos are pretty great.
Yeah, those are good.
The glitter bomb ones?
Yeah, the glitter bomb Porch Pirate.
Personally, big fan of his squirrel obstacle course.
Why am I not surprised by this?
It could use some 3D printed parts. I feel like we could.
It probably could. But anyways, that's Thomas. Tad, talk to us, buddy.
So yeah, my qualifications. I studied mechanical engineering with, I guess not formally a concentration in injection molding and plastics, but that's what I ended up doing, like course-wise. And my senior design project was all injection molding stuff. That was for like a project. It was for a building company. They wanted to use like lag screws for exterior elements on residential and commercial stuff, but they wanted it to look like a forged like iron bolt with like a square head. So we designed this plastic thing that goes over the top of a modern screw and makes it look like a big old bolt, and designed and machined the mold. And because the CNC machine for the shop was down my semester, we had to do it all by hand, which was it worked. It looked all right, but I would have not done that way professionally now with access to better resources. But you make it work.
And so your whole time when you were in school, you were studying this idea of designing in 3D for injection molding. And I want to make a point about this, because there's a big difference between CAD design and design for manufacturing. What we do at 3D Musketeers, we do both. So if your goal is to never go to injection molding, we're not going to do DFM, because there's no reason. No. DFM takes longer because things like draft angles, and we fill in all the things anyways, but that kind of stuff does add to time on a project.
Well, and so design for manufacturing, basically what that is you take into consideration the processes that are going to be used to make the product, not just, just look at a 3D model and be like, oh, that's it. That's what the finished thing is. No, you can't stop there. You got to consider, how is machinery and how are people going to accomplish what you've set out to create. And depending on your process, like 3D printing, I have a whole set of criteria in my head that I think of when I do things for that. that are different than when I'm doing like designs that are going to be molded, designs that are going to be made out of sheet metal. It all changes because there are different tolerances and there's different things you got to account for each manufacturing process. That's what we spend time on.
Yep. Anything else you want anybody to know? I know Thomas took a while, but I feel like you're someone that just wants to get through it real quick. It's also 9 a.m. for you, so there's
yeah, it's a little early. No, yeah, it's about it. College was good, but I enjoy working better. A little bit. But
that was a drinking joke, and I don't know if that caught on or not.
No.
Okay. None of us have drinking problems. Actually, I don't
Thankfully.
drink at all. I don't drink at all. But
I have a beer in my fridge that I haven't touched in months.
Me too.
It's kind of a problem.
When you move, it's going to be a problem.
Yes. Well, no. I can use it as I was about to say compensation.
Compensation. That's right. That's the benefit of living in a college town. You got ways to move. It's a 6-pack of beer. And just for Thomas, it's 6-pack of PBR and pizza. Just for Thomas.
32-pack.
32. Jeez. Thomas, I knew you were expensive, but shit.
Go hard.
So I guess I'll do mine.
You could make another computer.
I could.
I'm a little odd. Wow, what a surprise. He said that. He talks to himself. It's funny. It's like it's a third person omniscient thing. Yeah, it's just what he does. But I started in the 3D printing industry, getting involved in it in 2008. But I've been a professional in the industry since 2013. Yeah, 2013. I've been a professional in the industry, owning businesses in this industry. 3D Musketeers since 2015. So 3D Musketeers has been kind of my baby since then. But I've been into electronics, engineering, just all the STEM, effectively, since I was a kid. Like, I built a gas electric hybrid in high school that got well over 100 miles to the gallon with a team of people in an engineering club. That was fun. Thanks, Mr. Winchester. You, sir, are the reason that I am here today. And every one of us will have that impetus of someone in our life that course corrected us and brought us to where we are. And for me, it was John Winchester. So thank you, sir. I guess I owe you.
May interject briefly.
Sure.
For those watching, Grant likes to poo-poo himself, but his mechanical chops are pretty good. He is an engineer in all
technical.
But you have so much experience. Exactly. Yeah. You don't have the piece of paper, but you're an engineer in spirit.
Yeah. You know how they say they want 2 to 5 years of experience? Got it.
He's got it. He's definitely got it.
2 to 5 years of experience.
Take it from me. He's got it.
So after school, I had the opportunity to go to college. And not everyone gets that opportunity. And there are some bright minds out there that don't. If you are a bright mind that didn't have the opportunity to go to college, do not let that slow you down. Get out there, pound that pavement, and make it happen. I ultimately went to St. Leo University, just north of Tampa, Florida. I got my undergraduate in business administration, and I got my master's in business as well. So I do have an MBA. It was a 6-year program at St. Leo, and it was a phenomenal financial package. Thanks, Dad. My dad happens to work there, so tuition remission was a wonderful thing, and with 2 kids, college gets very expensive. My brother and I don't have 2 kids. My brother and I, 2 kids there. I have an identical twin brother, for those that don't know. My brother's more IT. I'm more physical. So there you go. There's the difference between the twins. But St. Leo was great because it's a very, very small school. And I took physics as an elective. Like 2 physics classes and a circuits class as electives. Because I'm that geek. And
that is Grant.
I will never forget Dr. Leo Androvic. Hello, sir. Thank you for all the fun times throwing basketballs at me in class. Because I didn't pay a ton of attention. Because I was in Physics 1, so that I could get out of it and get into Physics 2, because Physics 1 was easy. It's Physics 2 that I really wanted to be in, but you had to take the prereq and you couldn't comp it because it wasn't my major. I couldn't just take it as a comp and move to Physics 2. So every now and then he would catch me not paying attention and he'd throw things at me. One time, it was the last time he ever did, I caught the basketball. Sometimes he would just miss me and I'm like, what the hell was that? One time I caught it and that was hilarious. But no, I love St. Leo because the classes were really small. It wasn't like I was going to a class where there was like 15,000 other people sitting in the same room with a professor that doesn't know my name. Like, these people knew me, and it wasn't because of my relation to my father or anything like that. It was because of me as the student, and it was awesome. It was truly, and like taking business law classes and the business classes there, and being able to go to office hours and just talk to professors about doing things the right way. Because the one thing I can tell you about schools, it does not adequately prepare you to run a business. And it will teach you a lot of the fundamentals, and the fundamentals are great. But nothing out there will ever prepare you for actually doing it. But I've always been like this technical engineering guy, so it makes sense for me to go into something where I can let the business muscles stretch themselves as well as the engineering side. And 3D printing was just becoming commercially available. 2008 is when it first kind of hit with the MakerBot Cupcake and the RepRap project. We talked about that a little bit in Brent's episode, like the last 30 minutes of Brent's episode, the previous episode, which you should go watch and listen to. We talked about all that there, and I was involved in that. I was building 3D printers for a while. They were never very good because they just weren't back then. But ultimately, I had a business partner who believed in me, and we started the Object Shop. The Object Shop is no more. I had a pretty serious health problem that came up, and I walked away from that business because of the health concern. And when everything came back, I didn't really want a partner anymore. I was a minority shareholder doing all the work. And yes, while I had no money in the game, it was just sweat equity. It was just not something that really worked for me. So yeah, I started 3D Musketeers, and this is where we've been ever since. It's been a crazy ride, and I've done many different jobs in between. I've worked for a drilling company. I did food service. I've worked at a local science museum, and I've done lots of stuff. And the people that we come into contact every single day change the way we look at certain things. Like, I've worked with a apparel company personally, like helping them out, and that's been a crazy ride. And like, because of all these experiences, I was asked to be the entrepreneur in residence for the Pasco County Economic Development Council. So they are opening up a brand new facility at the Grove in Wesley Chapel. I know that means nothing to Tad and Thomas. But I will be there at least one day a week hanging out, and you guys can come if you are watching this because you found me there. Hey, cool, come set a meeting because I can help you get from where you are to where you want to be. Because that's our goal in this business, is to help people get from where they are to where they want to be. We are professional storytellers, but professional, right? That means things cost money. And that's our introduction. But at the end of the day, we all carry college degrees, and that means we need to get paid for our time, because we either have lots of debt we need to pay back, we have a mortgage we need to pay, yeah, buddy, or we don't want to be a starving artist, we're gonna go because all of that fits in our realms, and we want to help you guys make awesome. And we understand that some of you may not have the finances to do it. And if that's the case, we're going to recommend that you take a look at our Making Awesome Academy. It's not out yet. I know. I've talked about it a bunch. We are finalizing the curriculum now, and we're going to go into recording in the next 2 weeks. So we should have this thing up and running, hopefully Q2 of 2021. And that will enable you for $1,000, and you'll get 6 months access for very, very clean videos about what it's like to go from art to part and the steps you need to take to avoid the pitfalls. And that way you can build your roadmap to success, because that's what we're here to do. We want to help you pave that way. And It might mean you need 2 hours of consulting and a lot of the other work you can do yourselves because, spoiler alert, a lot of the things that we do, you can learn yourself. Now, that means, of course, you're trading, instead of paying us, you're using your time to learn it yourself. And we're still here if you have questions. It's billable hours, but we're here if you have questions. This entire process of going to initial discovery, your CAD, your prototyping, and beyond does have some expense. It does.
Yeah, that's just reality.
But when you remember that a company is making an investment in you, like if you want Mr. Wonderful to give you $250,000 and he takes a 7% royalty, he's investing in you. If you can't invest in yourself, then how can you expect others to invest in you? And that investment can be time. That investment can be money. It can be both. But you have to put in that investment. You got to put in that time. We want to help you get there. The cost of inventing, it varies. The answer is it varies. And it can vary. We've seen it as low as $1,500. We've seen it as high as tens of thousands of dollars. But what we do here at 3D Musketeers and Making Awesome is that we make certain that you're not going to have any uh-ohs. You're not going to have any surprises when it comes to money. And we're going to be as clean and clear as we can. Sometimes even we come into instances where, oh, this circuit that we thought was going to cost $1,000 to design, it's actually going to cost $2,500, and we've already billed the client, so we're eating $1,500. Yay! That's definitely not something that's happening right now. Yay! That's the way it goes. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and we want to make sure that we can be in your corner. You're Rocky Balboa. You're getting out there. You're taking some punches, but when you're coming back, when that bell rings, we're going to be there to give you that support, give you what you need so you can get back out there and keep making awesome. That's what this is all about, right? The cost of inventing, it's you. You are the cost of inventing, whether it's your time in exchange for money or your money in exchange for our time. It all comes down to time. I don't think I can put it any better, right? I mean, Thomas, do you have a better way that we could put this other than it's time?
It's pretty much time.
And that's not something people think of, right? Well, how much money? Well, it depends on your idea. And if you are curious how much you think it's going to cost, schedule that 15-minute meeting with us. Just do it. And ask us. You'll have a few minutes to talk about what you want to do. Show us any drawings you have so that we can get a better idea of what you're doing. And then ask, what will this cost? And we are going to say this is a ballpark. Ballparks you can't hold us to. We're giving you a general idea of what this is going to cost to get you from art to part, because that's what we do. And if we say, all right, it's going to be 20 grand. Well, I don't have 20 grand. Grant, how the hell am I supposed to do this? Well, then we're going to recommend that you sign up to get more information on the Making Awesome Academy, because when it comes out, there's going to be some really, really awesome benefits here. We're trying to keep it at $1,000, gives you 6 months access. If you pay it all up front, there will be a one for 3 monthly payments. So you'll have to pay it in the first 3 months to get the 6 months access. But it's going to give you access to all the videos, as well as guided. Hopefully we can do guided. I'm still working on whether or not we can do guided. It's going to give you 10% off of 3D printing services. So right there, you're getting a benefit. 10% off of 3D printing. We've had some really expensive 3D prints. It's worth it.
Yeah, in the long run, it's definitely worth it.
And you're going to get a weekly AMA, an Ask Me Anything, where myself and some of the other team are going to come on once a week, where you can just hang out with us on Discord, on Facebook. I don't know yet. Probably Discord, because we can control it a little bit better. And we'll do weekly AMAs. We're going to record them so we can turn it into little snippets for the podcast and things like that. But you can ask us any question that you want, and we will answer it free of any additional charges. I believe we're going to try to cap them at like 1 to 1.5 hours. That way we're not burning too much of our time. But there's a lot of great benefit there, because you can ask us about patenting, and we might just tell you to go watch the patenting episode. But we might be able to call Chris Tanner or David Stein or Vanessa Ferguson or one of the other attorneys that we work with and say, hey, we have a client, we'll put them on speaker, put them right by the microphone. Hey, we have a client that's got a couple of questions. Do you mind hooking us up with 2 minutes of your time? And then you get some really useful information from this. And we're hoping that you guys find some great benefit from it. And as things go on, we'll start having these challenges. We're going to challenge you to come up with a brand new idea and bring it to a ready-to-go concept in 48 hours. And the one that wins, we're going to give you like $500 in free consulting. And we'll just help you make this thing real. And whether you choose to put it toward that or you choose to put it toward another idea, we want to help you guys make awesome. That's the goal of all of this. So, yeah. What is the cost of inventing? Time. Time is the cost. And
no matter what, it's always time.
I wish I had a cool clock I could hold up, but I don't. All my cool clocks aren't on my current desk. But yes, it is all time. And that's not really the answer that a lot of people want to hear. So in the description, we will also have kind of the general breakdown of what some things can cost. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to sign up for a 15-minute meeting. They're totally free. You can email us, podcast@3dmusketeers.com. And we will be putting out a sign-up sheet for the Making Awesome Academy if you want to learn more about it. There will be free videos, so even if you don't want to pay, there will be some free videos. Of course, it's not going to give you anywhere near the knowledge that being a part of the Making Awesome Academy will give you. However, it will help you get started because that's really the big thing. You got to be like Shia LaBeouf and just do it. You just got to get started because the biggest challenge we see for inventors is getting past themselves. And if you can get past yourselves, homie, you are going to be making awesome. Anything else before we end this one, gents?
Well said.
That's all for me.
I think we got it. And we're just a hair over an hour, which means we're actually going to end early, which we never do. We normally
tangent all into the
we used to have an hour and a half to film it, so we'd like hang out for 10 minutes, get into the filming, and we would always run over. And Thomas is texting me like, "Hey, I gotta go. Hey, I gotta go. Hey, I gotta go." And finally, last episode, I'm like, "Just go. We'll play you out." And Brent played him out. And I said, "All right, we're gonna change it, so we're gonna book 2 hours." And we have been on call for precisely 1 hour 31 minutes. The recording's only been an hour and 7. But I just find that hilarious that the one time when I'm like, all right, we need to extend the time that we're booking for this, we can get done early. Yeah. But as always, guys, I have preached enough about 3D Musketeers. If you don't know about it, links are in the description. Our goal is to help you make awesome. Our goal of this podcast is to help you help yourself to make more awesome. But that's what you need to keep doing. You also need to call your loved ones because it's a crazy world we're living in, and my phone is ringing. We want you to make awesome. We want you to call your loved ones, remind them that you're out there. Say hi, tell them you love them. Go socially distance. Get your COVID shots if you can. Have a good one. And I guess we will see you all next time. Take care.